Good evening, Texas bikers and bikers all across the nation and the world. This is Texas Biker Radio. My name is Mel Popeye Moss. My co-host, Mel O.G. Robbins. We are with Sons of Liberty Riders MC, who are sponsors of this show each and every week, along with a few of our friends. And Mel, this is show number 343.
Oh, God.
So that means...
I don't know if that's good or bad.
I'm going to say it's good because that means we've been doing this once a week for quite a while.
Yes, we have.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
So, but, we do talk about the news of the day, including, bikers and some political stuff. And, I mentioned it the other night in my promo about what's going on here in Dallas, and we'll get to that. But let's do the biker stuff first. Are you ready?
Okay.
Yeah. And, of course, I brought up the other night that, the killing Twin Peaks, just piling on. What we have now is all the attorneys for all the lawsuits for the bikers that are coming back at Waco. And Mel, I first of all, let me say, I think they should get everything they can get out of them, out of the culprits, the ones that instigated the whole thing.
Absolutely.
And Mel, but what we see is they're suing the Twin Peaks franchisees, along with the company of Twin Peaks, Mel, who really, in my view, they're victims too, because they certainly didn't expect when they decided it was okay to do motorcycle events, and they are business people. They did want to make a buck, and they had no previous problems, and the COCI had a history of putting on successful events with zero problems, and so there was really no reason for them to cancel the thing. But I do feel if they had known what part the police played in instigating the whole thing, and also surrounding the buildings with law officers armed with AR-15s, that they were going to come in and spread bullets all over the shopping center there, and kill people. If they had any idea that was going to occur, I'm sure that things would have been different. But to sue Twin Peaks, and now the reason I'm saying this is, and you can probably explain it better than I can, because I'm going to say that this makes our ability to frequent businesses, restaurants, and bars, and places like that we go to and have gone to for years, and then all of a sudden we have law enforcement running around, threatening them with calling the TABC, and threatening them with harassing their customers. And so this is what we see going on now. And I don't think suing the restaurateurs is going to help with that problem. You got a comment on that?
Yeah, it's a multifaceted problem. I'm sure some of these civil suits may be on what's known as a contingency basis, mm-hmm. where you don't really have to pay the attorney much of anything, if anything, unless the lawsuit is successful.
Right.
They typically cover everything and take a percentage plus whatever expenses were involved. the issue becomes, and I had this happen to me personally years and years ago. I was involved in a lawsuit against a pharmaceutical company that had affected one of my children at birth. And clearly there were issues with that pharmaceutical company, but the attorneys, and this was a contingency thing, the attorneys brought in a doctor who was clearly innocent of doing anything wrong.
Right.
And I immediately questioned the attorney, and I said, look, why are we doing this? This doctor's okay. He's a good guy. There were no issues there with the doctor. Mm-hmm. And the attorney just very calmly explained, look, this is not a contingency thing. It's very common to bring in anybody and everybody that may be even remotely attached to this action, because the insurance companies will 9 times out of 10 just immediately settle
right
for something less than what they figure their expenses are going to be to defend this, which was very typical of the infamous MGM fire in Las Vegas also.
Right.
So what you have going on here is you have Twin Peaks becoming involved in this lawsuit, and I'm sure there isn't a biker out there that has any malice towards Twin Peaks or the franchisee, the franchisor, whoever, because that didn't affect what happened in the parking lot. The problem becomes you have businessmen watching this.
Right.
And all of a sudden there's a clear and clean wake-up call, as you pointed out in your article, that, these guys wearing cuts may be a potential liability to my business. If something goes wrong and there's any kind of an incident, I may get sued. So the unfortunate thing that's happening here is not only do we have the law enforcement issue of profiling us, but we have the other issue of establishments not allowing any type of club colors in their doors. Mm-hmm. And this has the potential of multiplying this problem to where we may start seeing it more and more. So it is unfortunate. I would say to anybody out there that has any control over their attorney in this issue, if you can, if it makes any sense at all, do not get, don't get Twin Peaks involved. It's not their fault.
Yeah.
This was clearly an issue with Waco.
Yeah.
With the DA's office and the police department. So that's my comment.
Yeah, Mel, and like you said about the article I wrote in TexasBikerRadio.org, it's titled "Twin Peaks Beatdown," and it's not good. And I explain the reasons in there that it's not good. And we now have law enforcement agencies that are running around that are in various cities threatening to contact the TABC. Remember too, this is a threat. That doesn't mean they're going to do it, and it doesn't mean that they can do it and get away with it. Not if we have something to say about it. And of course, one of the most recent one was Burleson. And I happened to be over in Burleson the other day. I was on my bike wearing my cut. And, I'd gone out there to visit my dad in an assisted living place. Well, I decided to cruise on over to Burleson and see what was happening. Well, I went and cruised around the police station about 4 times, just for good measure. Made sure the officers that were going in and out saw me. And and so after that, I went over to Grump's Burgers just to test to see if they had been told to not let bikers with cuts in. And, of course, I waltzed on in, ordered my burger and my beer, and you know what? Everything was fine. And we've been going in there for quite some time. But it was a test. Now, what our next test will be is to go visit the owners that were threatened in that area and see if we can get them on film talking about it. A lot of them are reluctant to do it, but this is what's going on. The things that I brought up about Twin Peaks, you know, just a second, Mel, I got a cough. It's a good thing this is on tape. Let me see, where is that? You know, and Mel, you know, the things were brought up about Twin Peaks. You know, the owners didn't have a clue of what was fixing to happen. Even though the police department did come by there, and of course Sergeant Swanton went way out of his way, and the others within law enforcement, to point the finger at Twin Peaks, as if somehow it was their fault that they had refused to cancel the event. Of course, at the same time, Mel, they're telling the Cossacks to go to the event.
That's right. They had visited them 2 weeks before the event,
right,
to make sure they were ready.
Right.
Which is why we have said multiple times, these trials will not continue because Waco does not want anybody on the stand that's going to start talking about their undercover work that was done,
right,
to propagate this incident.
Right. I mean, you know, the Twin Peaks owners knew nothing about the pending ambush. They were surrounded. Of course, they said they were gathering intel with AR-15s. I mean, Twin Peaks knew nothing about the lies that were to follow. The lies that were to follow, that were spewed by law enforcement members. And it was designed to set a narrative that would include Twin Peaks as a scapegoat. I mean, Twin Peaks had no clue of the so-called gang experts that had it all wrong. And everything was based on lies and innuendos, by their own undercover guys. And Mel, that came out during testimony during the Carizal trial. And I remember now the police chief of Waco saying that they didn't depend. They took the word of undercovers with a grain of salt. But they didn't in this case, did they?
No, they did not.
They charged full speed ahead with AR-15s.
Well, when you set up an L-shaped ambush for a firefight, that means you're getting ready for something that you're planning.
Right.
That's a movement well remembered by anybody that's been in the military.
Yeah. I mean, it's the whole thing was incredible. Absolutely incredible. But now the Twin Peaks franchisees are now in the crosshairs again by people in our community. And I just hate to see that, because I think it's going to make things hard. I understand that lawyers pile on. I mean, Mel, they almost put Cessna out of business, because when a Cessna would have a plane go down, the lawyers would sue everyone that had a part of making anything on the airplane. Everybody.
if they made a door handle,
Yeah,
they'd be involved in the suit.
exactly.
Oh yeah, very, very familiar with that tactic.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think this is a case of what we see going on here. They're just suing anybody and everybody. And of course, Mel, I've had experience in that too when my wife was shot with that stray 50 caliber bullet that we out at Texas Motor Speedway. You know, that ended up being a case of the homeowner's insurance coughing up money for my wife. And you know, this is probably what will happen with the individuals that are being sued in these lawsuits. Guys like Swanton and a whole host of others that stood up there and told one lie after the other, and Mel, that continue to tell lies to this day. It's absolutely incredible that guy is still a police officer.
It's CYA all the way.
He should be back over to Piggly Wiggly's, pushing shopping carts. Maybe
Boxing those groceries.
maybe a greeter. He's had his 15 minutes of fame. We kept him from being elected sheriff. And we'll continue to watch him year after year after year to make sure he doesn't hold any political office and to make sure he goes no further than where he's at as the mouthpiece for Waco PD. And of course, Abel Reyna has been dispatched to other areas of Texas to continue to do damage. Hopefully not as much damage as he created for 200 people. But I think this is where we're at today. Yeah, we're still battling the ramifications from Twin Peaks. And the DPS still uses that as an example, although it's all wrong, but they continue to lie about it. They won't tell the truth about it. That's the reason shows like this are so important, and it's so important that you share to get the word out there, the truth of it all, and what really happened at Twin Peaks. And you know, Mel and I this summer are going to do a documentary from our perspective, how we got involved, and the things we did along the way over a 4-year period. But I think doing a documentary is easier for us than sitting down and writing a book, because we just don't have that kind of time. We're still on the job. We're still out there battling the ramifications of all this. And I want to thank everybody who subscribes to our YouTube channel. We're headed toward 1,000 members, and you know that's when we're able to live stream with a mobile live stream instead of having to do it out of a studio. We can take you on the scene when something happens, and yeah, we've had that happen. That's how our Vagos MC video got put out there, their experience in the stockyards, which is also more ramifications from Twin Peaks. Those videos are also important because it shows that our constitutional rights being violated just to frickin' exist. But man, Mel, you get me started and I'll take a mile.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's all about.
Yeah. I mean, it's they continue to use lies and innuendos to vilify us. Every chance they get. And we hear it in those videos, and we'll point it out when we hear it in these videos. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. And I promise you, right now, the profiling has slowed down. We've taken kind of a survey among other clubs up here in the North Texas area, and we know that it's slowed down somewhat. We'll see. We'll see if they ratchet it back up. But I really don't think, they like what they see when they see themselves in these videos. That's just my thinking on it, Mel.
Yeah, I think because we've reacted and become very proactive to this profiling, that they may have taken a step back here, and they're saying, we better refigure what and how we're doing it, because they're demanding video now and everything else, and there's some potential liability here.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. And for the police departments that are running around threatening these restaurants, we will seek redress on these matters as they happen. We will. And we will come to your city when we find out that you're out threatening businesses. Not only if you're profiling bikers, if you're threatening business owners. It is wrong, and I think it's illegal that you go in and threaten a restaurant owner and threaten to harass their customers. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Yeah, some law enforcement loves to intimidate.
That's exactly right. We will not be intimidated. We have right on our side. We have God on our side. We have the Constitution on our side. And you can make up all the silly laws you want to make. But understand, we operate per the supreme law of the land, which is the U.S. Constitution. And if you're operating outside of it with petty laws you've invented meant to harass, well, we're going to have something to say about it. And we'll have something to say to the legislators that make these laws. Now, there's many of them that vote for these laws that don't know what in the hell they're doing. And they're led around by the nose. I don't know why I can't get that out right, Mel. Yeah, they're led around by the nose. They know what the hell they're talking about. Until they're caught. Then all of a sudden they study it a little bit more. We're just saying. But we're getting close to the end of this legislative session. And next broadcast we'll be going over the successes and failures of things we've tried to push through the state legislature. Some of it was listened to, some of it wasn't. Go ahead, Mel.
What's the official closing date?
It's the end of May is the official closing date. I'll double check that, but I'm sure it's the end of May. So we'll see. We'll see what bullshit went through and what didn't. And there's a lot of bullshit, let me tell you. That's the way it usually is. I mean, legislatures, I don't want to say they're a reflection of Washington, D.C., but yeah, they can be. Yeah, because what we see going on there is just one giant clusterfuck in Washington, coming out of Washington, D.C. All they can do is fight with each other. And, you know, and bitch about stuff. That's it. Carry on about Russia, Russia, Russia. When everybody out there knows that, yeah, all these big countries, they meddle in each other's election and meddle in the elections of other countries, including our country. Everybody's out there meddling in everybody else's business. Now, did they actually affect the vote in this country? Nah. Besides that, if you want to keep them out of the voting process, just disconnect the computers from the internet. Make sure it's not connected to that crap in any way. And then all you have to worry about is the local cheaters, the usual suspects. This voting multiple times. People that are voting that shouldn't vote. People not of this country. I mean, that list runs on and on. And basically, for the most part, unchecked. And they know it. California, who gives anybody with a driver's license the right to vote. And they're passing out driver's licenses to everybody.
Yeah, I don't want to be in that line.
Yeah, I don't either.
Lord.
Are people that they vote early and they vote often.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it has worked out to where that has affected some elections. What's that crazy guy up in Minnesota, Mel? The comedian?
Oh, gosh, the one that resigned. Al Franken.
Al Franken. Yeah.
That was one crooked election, let me tell you.
Yeah.
He had more votes from one area than they had registered voters.
Yeah.
And it was just, and what blew me away was they just let it ride.
Oh, yeah. It's absolutely nuts. But, I mean, and of course, and it stood. That election stood.
Well, and then you got Madison, Wisconsin.
Oh, yeah.
That will bus all of the college students around.
Yep.
And in Madison, in Wisconsin, all you need is a utility bill.
There you
and
go.
somebody to vouch that you are a resident in that precinct, which of course, all those liberal mushheads do.
Mm-hmm.
And so they just bus around from precinct to precinct, keep voting.
Yeah. There's Mel, there's probably no telling how many use the same utility bill. They just had copies of it. Take it in there and throw it down. Yeah, hell, here I am. I don't have any ID, but here's my utility bill.
Yep.
Hey, Mel, here is some world cycle news. Are you ready for this? Have you heard of the TE1?
No.
Yeah, well, the TE1 is going to be the Triumph Motorcycles electric motorcycle. They're getting into the competition. They're all going to be making electric motorcycles.
Well, I think they're really trying to play to the millennial crowd.
That's what they're trying to do. Yeah, the millennials and all the people, Matter of fact is, Mel, I just finished a show on Netflix called Occupied. Now, it doesn't have very high ratings, and I don't know why in the hell I'm watching it. But it's a Norwegian film. Of course, you know it's goofy if it's a Norwegian film. And
Oh yeah.
the whole the whole thing centers around climate change. And of course, Russia raids the Norwegians, to keep the European pipeline going. And so it's a big battle over oil and what they call thermoelectric, whatever it was they were battling over. Anyway, the show's stupid as hell, but I can't quit watching it because it is stupid as hell. But it's interesting that the like you said, these young people, and especially in the European Union, they're all about this climate change, and they're trying to push that issue. And we think in many ways this is what's going on with the motorcycles, because in the European Union, they would like to, those morons out of Brussels would like to push the price of fossil fuels up to $49 a gallon. This is actually what they want to happen. $49 a gallon to force people out of their fossil fuel cars and motorcycles and whatever mode of transportation. This is I guess this was maybe the first green energy plan, is to have gas go up to $49 a gallon, where you would first be forced to a car with high mileage, maybe a motorcycle, maybe, but their plan is to get rid of all fossil fuels because they think the earth is dying, which it's not. The earth is going to be here long after we're gone. And you know what? It's going to continue to continue and continue and continue. You know, it's like they said, Mel, you know, you never die as long as your children keep having kids.
That's true.
So if all of a sudden you've got a gay son and you've just got one, that's it. That's the end of you. Think about that. Think about that, because that's the end of your bloodline. So, just saying. And I know I'm getting off topic, but in a way, maybe I'm not, because I'm talking about the EU, I'm talking about climate change, I'm talking about people, these businesses doing things they normally wouldn't do. Who the hell wants to ride an electric motorcycle? I'm sure they can be fun, and I know they can be made fast. But you end up with the same problem at the end of the day. If I wanted to take out here on my street glide, Mel, say you and I want to go to Arizona or out to Kentucky or Tennessee to visit one of our chapters, and maybe the guy up in Boston who said, why don't we have a chapter there?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, we can jump on our street glides and have a reliable machine to make it all the way. With a few fuel stops, it takes just a few minutes. Rather than some battery-powered thing that would take it hours to recharge, adding days to the trip. Who the hell wants to do that? Then again, maybe you think, well, that'll slow me down. I'll have to stop and look around. I don't know. What do you think, Mel?
At best, an electric motorcycle is a novelty item. At its best, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You know, I've like the editor of American Iron. You know, he was kind of looking forward in his editorial. He was looking forward to the electric motorcycle coming out because he'd ridden one and it was a lot of fun. Well, yeah, why don't you try having that as your regular ride, and let's see how much fun it is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one thing to zip up to the mall. It's another thing to take a trip. And now, of course, I'm sure they're gonna show guys that are going across country on these things that are just having a blast. Right?
Yep. Called marketing.
Yeah. So, if it works, kudos to them. If they can actually sell it and make a profit and employ people. Yeah, if it works, I'm not going to buy one. It would really have to be really convincing to me that I would lay down the bucks that they're going to want for one of these things. Because they're not cheap. You think a Harley Davidson is expensive? Wait till you buy an electric one.
Well, and then wait till you have to replace the batteries.
Yeah, yeah.
That'll be a cheap thrill.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, is in the thing I read about the TE1, and I guess that would be Triumph Electric number 1. They were talking about the development of lightweight batteries, which they're not even off the ground zero yet with that. And they can't make a GoPro battery that'll last 2 hours. I don't think, because none of mine will. But I digress. Hey, Mel, you know what? I was looking around the internet here. You know what? If you've got an old Honda CB750, it's now 50 years old.
Wow.
Could you imagine somebody's got one of those old things? Somebody up north or something got one of those old things in their garage. It's
just, another testimony of how time gets away from you.
I know. Do you know Charlie probably has one?
Yeah. I'll bet he does.
Because I think the last time I heard he had 98. He may have been working on 99 as he was headed on his vacation after his medical issues. But yeah, he has around 98 motorcycles now, and he has a lot of Jap bikes. And so I wouldn't doubt that he has a CB750 that's 50 years old in his collection. I wouldn't doubt it. We'll see. I'll ask him when he gets back. Charlie's one of our club members. He's an interesting character. Call him Six Pack. Don't ask me why. Mel, you got anything we want to wrap up with?
Well, coming up this weekend, we have a COC&I meeting, Texas Coalition of Clubs and Independents, in Royce City at Southern Junction on Sunday. Meeting starts at 2 o'clock. Everyone usually gets there about noon, orders the special, has a few drinks, chats it up. The meeting starts at 2 and is usually over promptly by 3 o'clock. There's no admission. You don't have to pay monthly dues. It's a great time to get together with other bikers in the community, and this is for clubs and independents.
That's right.
And basically all we do is talk about what our rights are. We have an attorney there that will usually get up and he'll talk about what to do and say and how to conduct yourself. If you do get stopped, he answers legal questions. We talk about legislation that's pending, stuff we'd like to get done, some safety issues, and it's just all around good fun. And it's run by independents, by independent clubs. And like I say, independent riders are welcome. Southern Junction, Royce City, Sunday, 2 o'clock's the meeting.
There you go. And, Mel, we will be meeting at the Thursday night, this Thursday night. We'll be meeting at the Spot in Grand Prairie. Now, I don't have an address for it. I wish I did. And I tried to look it up, wasn't able to find it. But it is at Interstate 20 and Division Street. Yeah, we'll be there Thursday night. And I guess this place is so new, Mel, they don't have an internet presence yet.
It's so new, it smells new.
It does. It does. And what we'll do is here and on our Facebook site, Sons of Liberty Riders MC, we'll make sure the address gets posted there. Saying, come on by and say hi. Have a beer with us. Have a cold drink with us. Doesn't matter. You're not forced to drink. That's for sure. But anyway, Mel, I think that's about it.
Okay.
Hey, we made
another wrap.
44 minutes. Wow.
Oh.
Everybody, have a good evening and ride safe.
Be safe.